Hello, Didarati, members of Dida Mail Club. Good to see you again on a Sunday afternoon. You know what? With the Plastic Free July happening this month, we were looking at inviting an eco business to Dida's chat room, the chat room on Learn with Samita, which is Dida's YouTube channel for those of you who are joining us probably the first time. So we have Learn with Samita on YouTube, which is Dida's official YouTube channel. So when we were doing our research and we stumbled upon an eco florist, how good was that? Because she's eco and she's all about flowers, and you know that at Dida, we are very big on flowers. It's a large part of Dida's collections, especially Australian flowers. So we have eco florist Delanie Schulte with us today. Um, Now I have revealed who's the eco florist. And last evening, I got a question. So I was trying to sell this conversation to all my regular clients, the pioneers and the pillars of Diderati. And one of them asked me, Samita, what's an eco florist? Now, I'd probably hand it over to Delanie now to introduce herself and explain how she is an eco florist. So over to you, Delanie, and welcome aboard. Yes.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So, yes, I'm Delanie Schulte, and I run Dope Florals here in Melbourne. So Eco Florist, basically what that means is all of the flowers I use are all Aussie grown. So that means none of them are being shipped or flown from overseas. We know that all of the working practices, all the labor practices are fair and fairly compensated. And that also means that we're not getting any pesticides or any bugs on the flowers that might be harmful to the native or to any of the farms in Australia. So that's one part of it. Another part of being an eco-florist is that I actually don't use any plastic in any of my arrangements or installations.
Perfect.
Yeah. So a lot of people, when I say that, they think, well, of course there's no plastic, they're flowers. But actually there's a lot of plastic in the florist industry. So if you think about getting a bouquet, you're getting a plastic bag wrapped around the wet stems on the bottom. You're getting a fake rubber band that's not going to biodegrade. You're getting it wrapped in plastic. So that's just the bouquets. And then you think about events like weddings and things like that. And you have the floral foam blocks that they use a lot for those arrangements. And those blocks are all plastic. So they actually degrade into microplastics and then wreak havoc. So we don't use any floral foam in any of our arrangements or installations. And then actually there's another factor to being an eco-florist. So all of the stuff we use, so in our cozy jars, all of our arrangements that aren't hand wrapped, they're actually secondhand. So people in our community, they contact me saying they have jars that they've saved from food, from like peanut butter, things like that. And I go and collect them and I use them for the cozy jars. So we're just reusing things that are already made. So yeah, that's basically what it means to be an eco-florist.
Wonderful. You're taking recycling to a different level altogether, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just music to my ears, because I try to promote all of these things, and we don't realize, but I don't like those, the shiny plasticky kind of wrapping paper and all of that, the blocks that come even in the bouquets, I have seen quite a few times.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you are saying no to all of that and you are doing things naturally. Now, Delanie, we all have that, starting point. Like with me, fashion started somewhere very early, I think, without me kind of identifying, yes, this was fashion, but I was interested in art and craft since a very long time. I have been interested in doing these crafty things ever since I was a child. So tell me, when did your love affair with flowers? It's very easy to fall in love with flowers, but when did it begin? How did it begin, and why? So maybe
Yeah.
take us through your journey as a florist.
Yeah, so like you, I always was into crafty things. My mom is actually an art teacher, so I grew up with all the stuff to just create whatever you wanted. But for flowers specifically, I actually, as an adult, went into the field of neuroscience, and I was actually working in a neuroscience lab in San Francisco. And on Instagram, I found this florist shop in San Francisco that I just loved their flowers, loved their arrangements. It was just gorgeous. So I ordered a bouquet for myself, got it sent to me at work, loved it so much. And then that florist shop actually advertised they needed help for Valentine's Day. So yeah, and it was actually located just around the corner from my work. So I took off a day from work and went and worked at the florist shop, assembling bouquets. And I liked it so much that I ended up working there every Thursday.
Yeah,
and then quit my job as a neuroscientist, went traveling, ended up here in Australia, and then I found a job at a florist shop and just absolutely loved it. But then after 6 months, I couldn't work there anymore because of my visa. And I wasn't being hired anymore because I don't have a certificate in floristry, which I think is ridiculous. But you don't need a certificate. And so I decided to start my own business.
which is great. Yeah. You have to have a passion for something. It's very similar to my story. I'll tell you all of that later. Even I kind of switched from a white collar profession. So I was kind of pushed into that. But then I decided fashion is my passion. And then from fashion, it's become eco fashion. And so kind of you evolve, don't you? If you have a passion, if you're passionate about something, it's not work. You're not working, it's just you're doing something you love. Now, Delanie, you are an expert, and I'm very fond of flowers, and I like to prolong the lives of, I get bouquets and flowers sent to me by members of Deliveries, my family, friends. If it's a milestone, members of my team, and being sustainable, I like to prolong the lives of those floral bouquets. So, what do you think? What are your best tips to be able to do that? How do we look after our floral bouquets? So they have a lifespan. I understand how to extend that lifespan. Yeah,
so it's actually pretty simple. The best thing I've found is just as simple every 2 or 3 days. Just trim a little bit of the bottom and change to fresh water. It's the bacteria that's doing a lot of the degradation. So if you're kind of wiping out the vase and filling with new water, that's going to prolong it at least a day, I would think. There's all these sachets of like flower food and those sorts of things. I don't think they really do much. And oftentimes you don't know what's in them, and it's extra just waste. So so it's fresh trim and fresh water every 2 or 3 days. Another big thing is to make sure it's away from any heaters. Heaters are going to kill them so fast. So the cooler the environment, the better.
Yeah, I think flowers and plants also, they kind of speak to you, because I have a peace lily, and I know, it's asking me for water, because it's like this, and then the moment I put some water, then it kind of stands up. So you can communicate with plants just as much as you can communicate with animals, I think even plants kind of speak to you, and flowers.
Yeah, definitely.
So your best tip would be to just cut it on a slant. Someone told me cut it on
Right,
the stem on a slant. So, probably the surface area is quite like it increases and absorbs
that's
more
right.
water, more liquid. What about natural things like vinegar? Someone had said vinegar, or is it just a gimmick?
I've heard vinegar. I've heard sugar. I used to put a little bit of sugar in. But I think a lot of it is just wives' tale.
Just gimmick. And those little sachets that you get in some of these commercial bouquets, somehow I'm not convinced, and I would not have chemicals I don't know about, floating around in my house. So yeah, if it's natural, it's still okay. So I do exactly what you've suggested, that change the water and cut the stems. So it lasts about 10 days to 2 weeks, or also depending on the weather. Yeah. And would you recommend, I think from my experience, hard wearing flowers? Is it the proteas and the Australian flowers? Would you suggest that?
So knowing which flowers last longer is really valuable to obviously for the longevity. And that's actually something I do with my flowers, because I want to have, I want my customers to have their flowers as long as possible. And I want that, good reputation of having flowers that last a long time. So I specifically choose flowers I know are going to last a while. Which will be, a lot of the natives last a long time. Usually I find that if the stems are harder, they're usually going to last longer. So like roses have hard stems, natives have hard stems, things like that.
Yeah, that's a very good tip. So anything which got quite a strong kind of stem, so it's good to buy that. So someone's given you a like, Delanie. So thank you, whoever's there. I'll figure out later. So question. What about, would you prefer LivePlants now that we are going into sustainability? Is it LivePlants over floral bouquets, first of all? So that's question one. So would you prefer, as a florist, do you prefer that we give LivePlants?
I like both. I think it depends on the occasion as well. So my brother recently bought a new house, and it was his birthday as well, and I sent him a live plant because it's kind of like a piece of furniture, like a living piece of furniture that helps decorate the place. You care for it; it's a responsibility as well. Whereas the bouquet is can be more colorful, more artistic, more creative, and kind of speaks to like what your relationship is with that person.
Yes.
So I think both.
especially occasions like Valentine's Day and things like birthdays. My daughter has, like your brother, my daughter's moved into her new house, and every time I go, I'm carrying a plant, like, devil's ivy, which is considered to be auspicious in some cultures, including mine, and a money plant. So, and certain other flowers, lavender. So those kind of things, I take a living plant. The other thing that's becoming very popular these days, and I see it at florists everywhere, it's forever bouquets. Bouquets which stay with you forever. Do you do those, and would you recommend those? And I really don't know much, but I let it come from you. So what do you think about the forever bouquets?
I really like forever bouquets. I do them. I do them whenever I have time to do them, so it's not like a constant thing I have. Usually I have one or two up consistently on my website, but I generally didn't like forever bouquets for a while because I found a lot of them weren't very colorful, and that color kind of brings the life to it for me. So I've done a thing where I just use colorful flowers that keep very well when they're dried, like everlasting daisies, delphinium, a lot of the natives, roses. Those keep color pretty well. So I just focus on those types of flowers instead of the kind of like beige tones. So yeah, and then
the neutral palette, and some of them are artificially, they sprinkle color on them, which is again like people like you and me, we will not like that, not knowing what color, what kind of chemicals they are using. So if it's naturally colorful, it works for me. Now coming to a few, they are basic information, but it's critical information. There are 3 questions here. First of all, I have already shared your website URL on Facebook, Dida's Facebook. I'll share your socials, your Instagram, which is Dope Flowers, Dope Florals, but I'll put it in the comments, and then your website. So is that the best way? I mean, just to message you on Instagram? First of all, how to get in touch with you? Number 2, do you do events like, arrangements which is custom made to a client specification? A flower wall. Flower walls are doing very well. I mean, in our industry, everyone's looking for a flower, like, a spectacular flower wall. Third, weddings. So 3 things: your contact, custom made arrangements for, events and weddings. So let my clients know.
So our website is dopeflorals.com or .com.au. We have both of them. And then our Instagram and Facebook is just Dope Florals, very easy. And that's DOPE, like you'll see in the comments. And the best way to contact us, I do respond really well to my Instagram messages. The best way to order is through my website, Dope Florals. And there's a contact form on there as well that goes directly to my email, which I check regularly. Notifications on the phone, so I might, respond immediately. And so that's the best way to contact me. Either message me on Instagram or contact through the website. Those are both fine. And then events. So yes, I do events. I do like corporate flowers as well. So I do a regular arrangement for a brewery, things like that. I can do a whole range of different arrangements, custom arrangements for events, and I do weddings as well. Big installations with no plastic, centerpieces, buttonholes, bridal bouquets, that sort of thing. So a whole
bridesmaids.
All plastic free.
And everything customized. So anything else which you think I have missed out on, or any other information that subscription? Do you do it like some of us who can afford it? I know some of my friends and clients do. They have signed up with florists, and they have every fortnight they have floral bouquets or flowers delivered to their door. And then there are others who go to South Melbourne or wherever, but instead of doing that, they can just sign up with you and you can keep sending flowers to them. Would you be open to that?
I have subscriptions on my website. You can get all the different sizes of my bouquets, or you can get the posy jars in a subscription basis. So we have the fortnightly, monthly, weekly options if you want to do that. It's a really great present. I'd say most of my subscriptions are gifts for people, which is fantastic. They get their first bouquet with a little certificate that says there's more to come on a monthly basis. And I've actually made a few friendships with people because I deliver flowers to them once a month and chat while we're there. So it's totally a thing I do. It's very easy. It's just one of the products on my page. You can pick whichever selection you'd like.
Last but not the least, deliveries. So I know you do deliveries, but there's a radius, isn't it? And would you be doing interstate also? So I'm not talking international right now, but interstate and what is within what range would you deliver?
Yeah, so my studio is based in Kensington, so near North Melbourne. And I have 2 delivery zones. So I have within 10 kilometers of Kensington, which is $10, and then I have the 15-kilometer range. And so that 15 kilometers goes down through like Elwood and up through like a little bit past Reservoir. So it's a pretty large range. People don't realize how large 15K is. So it has a pretty large range. That's what we're delivering right now. And we can arrange a pickup if you'd like to do that in Kensington. It's not a shop front, but you can pick up from my studio.
I was about to ask because come again, sorry. I was about to ask because I am beyond, I'm probably 30 kilometers from the city, but we can do a pickup, isn't it? From your, you don't have to have a formal shop, but even from your studio. So that gives me a choice that, you know, if I want it picked up or if I want it delivered, I can just give you the address and say delivered to a client or a friend. So Delanie, we've been talking, you wouldn't believe it, we've been talking for 20 minutes. And the time just flies. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up for this evening, for the evening?
No, I just hope that my flowers kind of inspire some creativity, some lightheartedness, some fun, and just kind of get everyone out of this mindset of kind of the regimented floral arrangements that you see so often that are very scripted and tight.
Just kind
of have fun with it.
Yeah, cookie cutter kind of bouquets that you see everywhere.
Exactly.
So no, DIDA is all about that point of difference, and I think that's your USP. You are so different, and you are eco, which is so great. And Delanie, you wouldn't believe it, but we have clients and followers all over the world, especially in California. We have many people from California who are part of DIDArati, the DIDA Mail Club. We have bloggers, we have professionals, California, San Diego, Seattle, so many, Palo Alto, so many different places. But it's been just wonderful. And personally, as you can see, I love flowers, you know, even the scarf here, this one's a floral scarf, and especially Australian flowers. And it's been wonderful talking to you, and we wish you all the best with your venture, your eco business, and we look forward to, especially August onwards, you know, the season kind of opens up with, you know, hopefully events and all, everything. We'll start doing events, we'll go closer to Christmas, all the pre-Christmas get-togethers and things like that. So it's been about a year since we started Learn with Samita, DIDA's YouTube channel. And in this 1 year, we have grown exponentially. And who do we have to thank for that? You, DIDA's likers, followers, subscribers. So if you are liking our videos, do not forget to give us a thumbs up, share, comment, like and subscribe, because your likes, your comments, your subscriptions motivate us to do better. And if you would like us to cover a particular topic, mention in comments below, and we would do our best to comply with your request. Till then, this is Samita signing off. Bye for now.